Let's get into it. I really thought I was done for the day. I did. But I keep seeing things that really kind of spark my frustration. And I feel I need to comment on it. But let's get into it.
I feel at this point everyone's probably pretty aware about what's happening in Los Angeles with the ICE raids, with the protests that are happening. And as is inevitable, with that going on, you have some people who are making posts or videos saying things like this.
All the little would-be revolutionaries out there trying to fight the feds and protests in LA today. Yes, there's hundreds of you, possibly even thousands, but what you're forgetting is there's tens of millions of us that voted for exactly this.
This is exactly what we voted for, complete with standard issue Karen Cutt. And she's not the only one saying this. To be clear, she's just the example I'm using. So, in response to her and anyone who feels this way, I want to play two little video clips really quickly. Here is the first one. Proceso. Sin embargo, está acompañada por el niño. That is a woman being detained in front of her child, crying and hysterical because she's going to be separated from her child, and her child is forced to have to try and comfort her, not to mention witness all of that. That's the first clip. Let me play you the second one. Now, for those who no habla español and didn't understand what she is saying, she kept saying, "My son is in school, my son is in school." Because she dropped her son off at school, and now she's worried about who's going to get him. Who's going to pick up my son from school? She's picturing her child standing in the car line, everyone else gone, teachers huddled around him trying to reach her and her not answering, and them trying to figure out what they're supposed to do with this kid. Not to mention her son standing there wondering where his mother is. And the thing that both of those clips have in common is that both of those women got picked up at immigration court. Doing it the legal way. That thing that so many of you say, we just want you to do it the legal way. They were trying to. They were given a court date. They showed up for it. And then they're just being kicked out and separated from their children. Now, if you can watch those two clips and still say, this is what I voted for, cool, but you are not a patriot. Don't call yourself an American. What you are is a shitty person who wrongfully believes the only way that you can have more is if others have less. And if you were saying like, hey, those billionaires should have less, so I should have more, that's kind of not a problem. But you targeting those who have the least as your way of getting more is shitty. It's not shitty to say you want a safe border. It's not shitty to say you had a problem with how Biden handled the border. I know people on the left who had a problem with that. That is not what's shitty. But if you can look at this far swing to the other direction and be okay with it just because it accomplishes some things that you want, you're not a good person.
I had to fight back the tears. Because just so you know, I'm one of those who voted for President Biden who was pissed off about the way they handled this immigration, the way that they allowed immigrants to come into cities that they wouldn't have school. They had schools closed for their citizens, but opened them up for housing, etc., for these people who were coming illegally. So I understood and agree that something needs to be done. But this ain't it. Let me tell you something. When I watch the woman crying, saying her son is in school, you may as well, and y'all may say this is extreme, that is tantamount to this woman being unalived and her child wondering where my mama is. Why can I say that? Me, I got stories. My channel's Life Lessons. Listen, active duty. I had a major car accident. I had just been stationed in Tennessee, didn't know many people. I'd been there maybe a month, 2 at the most. I had a major car accident that they wondered how I even walked away from it. All I could think about, who's going to get my daughter? Who's going to get my child? My heart is beating fast. That's all I can think about. What if I never came home? Because it could have been just like that. Y'all some heartless motherfuckers. I'm just going to keep it straight. And let's be clear. For those of you who are saying, well, they're taking all our jobs, blah, blah, blah. You wouldn't want the jobs that they do. You wouldn't want and or not qualified to do the work. Let's talk about it. Lawn care, maid service, the service industry, construction, roofing. You don't want that. Picking the fruit and vegetables in the fields. You don't want that. You don't want that. So what the hell are you really talking about? You wouldn't work those jobs even if they were available for you to work. But see, this is what's going to happen. I want you to be ready for it, and I want you to get your patience together. Okay? Because see, we're here in the DFW in this area, tornado season, hurricane season just started. All these different catastrophes. Let's talk about what's happening, what happened in the Appalachians. Who do you think was on those crews doing the work? Not just talking about undocumented people, because although they weren't undocumented, they had work permits. So I guess I wouldn't make them undocumented. They had work visas. But you don't see these construction sites, they done ganged up on everybody. And the work is stopped. Who gonna do it? So when all these things happen and you need new roofs and blah, 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 and they just be prepared to wait. Be prepared to wait. And I hope you understand that. And when you go out to these restaurants or wherever and you have to wait for you, I hope you prepare for that. Clean your own damn house. Pick your own produce. Again, I am all for safe borders. I am all for deportation of those criminals, those people who are, I don't know, I can't think of the word, but those who are hardworking people who are contributing, who are paying taxes, and again, trying to do it the legal way, showing up to immigration court only to be carted off, that's some bullshit. That's some bullshit. And I was going to say something that would get me banned, but you know who you are. I'll just call you pilgrims. Or privileged, because it's not just pilgrims. But I want you to keep that in mind. Keep that in mind. Keep it in mind. Those are my thoughts. What are yours? Take that with you.